Alright, we are going blind into Ladybug versus Faint. I am really excited for this series because these are two guys who played Ubers when it was the current gen, and I am just thrilled to see them going back at it so many years later. Ladybug is known for his creativity, and every tier he touches, he was the first guy that I ever came across that was really known for just pulling out insane stuff and winning with it. He brought 6 dragons to a Gen 5 OU SPL game and won. It was crazy. And and Faint was one of the best Gen 4, and especially Gen 5. He was a great Gen 5 Ubers player. It was, and he always had a very, very solid, no-nonsense, but not boring take on his teams. They're very, very efficient and, just ruthless almost. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this clash. Let's get into this. Groudon, Kyogre. So we've gone over in the last video, Jirachi versus Ray Scarface, why Groudon is being used again, and in that video I referred you to the 6 tournament things with the Solwind game, or Solwind versus Hylord. So yeah, Groudon, pretty good lead, I think, worth using now. Early rocks, good matchup, and especially if lead Dialga is going to become more popular to help combat lead Kyogre, then you both undercut lead Kyogre, and you have a good matchup against lead Dialga. And with Stone Edge, you can ruin Ho-Oh leads really nicely. So, Cloyster. If this is a slow Groudon, then Cloyster's going to get up a lot of hazards, including the dreaded Toxic Spikes, and of course the good old regular Spikes. So, okay, it's just an ad. All right. Anyway. So, yeah, Groudon is not going to 2-KO Cloyster either with EQ unless it's like Earthplate or something. So, if it's got Lava Plume, then that's something else. But we have to just, we're going to assume rocks from the Groudon, and then we're going to assume a Spike from the Cloyster, because regular Spikes is safe to go for first before you fully commit to the T-Spikes. And then we're going to go from there. I mean, this Cloyster might even have Rapid Spin. They didn't before, but now they're using it more now that DOS is running a lot of bulk, and thus Payback and Ice Shard together doesn't really do the job, so they're turning to spin instead. So there's the Spikes, it is faster. There's EQ, not quite a 2-KO. And there's a second Spike. Oh, he's committing just to full Spikes instead. That's pretty nice. Alright, so there's the rocks, and he gets it in Dialga before the 3rd layer of Spikes goes down, no lefties, and it's slower, and Cloyster gets the spin off. So that is informative. There you see the power of Spin Cloyster, and it got up 3 layers of Spikes. So yeah, Cloy's pretty cool. It's like a Tentacruel that gets up Spikes. That's the if you're gonna spin with it. That's the best comparison I can think of. So it doesn't pick up opposing T-Spikes, but hey. Yeah, so that Dialga thing is really informative because if it's slower than Cloyster and it's like a non-lefties set with like Fire Blast and so offensive, then that could mean it's Trick Room. So that would be really interesting and not at all. I mean, Trick Room Dialga is a good Pokemon, but you generally don't see it early in the game. And you could also, justify. I mean, Cloyster's max speed is 262, so you generally do justify running like the base 90s, like they often drop like the 244 area to outrun like T-Tar, and maybe a little more for like Jirachi that tries to outrun T-Tar. So like Groudon, Kyogre, Ho-Oh, they hang out around there a lot. So yeah, why not a mixed Dialga like that? But so that it's Trick Room, or just it wants bulk, or it wants some attack EVs in addition to its special attack EVs because it's also running Brick Break or Outrage, and maybe even Adamant Orb. So or just really likes bulk to take hits. So a lot of potential explanations. We'll have to wait and see. So what's going to come in for Faint as a follow-up? Oh, there's Life Orb. So I don't know, but I don't know if it's going to be Trick Room necessarily. But Life Orb is a great option on Dialga in general, and I think it's very underrated. I mean, those Dracos just go to a new level, and its coverage options just become ridiculous. I mean, Thundering Kyogre becomes very satisfying. Anyway, so here comes Luke, who's definitely faster, and is Tina O coming in? No, there's a double switch to Dialga. That's a great move. Oh, I guess, oh, that sucks. That sucks a lot. On one hand, I kind of I kind of think maybe CC was safe, because Giratina O coming in and taking no damage because there's no rocks, that would admittedly not be cool. But you could handle it, I'm sure. You could switch into it after, go to your Dialga, get up rocks, chase it out. If it, like, Feint is known for using, like his old Frostlass team had a very fast Stealth Rock Life Orb Dialga, which I loved. And I'm thinking, hey, I think that team had Lucario too. Maybe he's using that old team, but with a Cloyster lead instead of Frostlass. That would be cool. So if he did have that, then he could switch into the Tina O pretty decently. I mean, maybe he'd have to do some pivoting so he didn't switch it directly into an EQ, but, you know, he would scare the Tina O, he would scare the Giratina O out because it'd think it would Scarf, and then he would get up the rocks in the switch, and he'd still hit with the Life Orb Draco. You know, just with all those assumptions. But basically, you assume that you can switch into Giratina O, especially with no hazards. So CC there might have been safer. Whereas Ladybug, you know, I think he took his time on that one. He dropped down to 270 seconds on the timer. So he thought for at least 30, if not more. And he accepted, look, I just can't switch into this Lucario with the spikes down. So I got to just sack the Dialga. And it's also very likely that Lucario, because the feeling of CCing into Giratina is not a pleasant one. So it's likely that Lucario could, like, even try to SD or crunch. So all those factors led to Feint making I mean, the idea was great. Double switching to Dialga and on the Giratina O and getting up rocks as it switched out and getting full hazards while Ladybug has none. That would be amazing. But I think Ladybug was a little behind with the 3 spikes and nothing of his own. And so yeah, that crit obviously sucks a lot. I mean, Life Orb, Fire Blast, and Sun wouldn't have taken it. Would have done a lot, but wouldn't have taken it out. So. And if it was an offensive Dialga, then it was going to outrun for sure and take it out. So there's a CC, and down it goes. So now Groudon comes in, and now in comes Feint's Giratina O, and goes for the... That's a great move from Ladybug, T-waving. So, because if you... And it's better than Rocks, because you can still get up Rocks on Tina O now. It's not going to make it take Rocks damage suddenly. But if Luke stays in and CCs just out of desperation or something, then you still T-wave it and do something to it. So that was a great move. And now he's going to get up his rocks. And the Tina O is handled. So, I mean, not handled. There's a big... noticing the old school players are not running special defense on their Groudons. And now in comes T-Tar. On the sneak even. And is this going to be banded? Well, that's a lot. That looks banded. And it gets EQ'd, so probably not going to get taken out. But the problem is that it's now... it's going to give Luke the freest of free SDs. And if he couldn't switch into it before, but why is it not coming in? I mean, is he afraid that it's not choiced? Maybe, I mean, my instinct is that it is choiced because it did 52 to a Giratina O staying in. And that would have mean that it would OHKO from full. Yeah, that had to be choiced. I think not SDing there was a mistake, given how weak... And revealing Palkia... I mean, if anything, you go to Luke anyway. You don't reveal something else. So I think that was a mistake. Here comes Darkrai. Not very brave... Oh, it might have been... It might be Scarf Darkrai. Yeah, okay, I think it was Scarf Darkrai. Because to just assume that Palkia wasn't Scarf and wasn't going to spatial run your face off, that would have been really something. But yeah, it's that. And now he double switches to his own Palkia as Kyogre comes in. So he's really getting the one-up on this one. But and he thunders and that drops the Kyogre. My God, that has to be Specs. This is going to stay in and thunder the Luke. And yeah, that's... Okay, I love seeing Specs Palkia. And we don't see the last. So, I mean, Darkrai would drop... Palkia would drop with 3 layers... Yeah, it definitely would, right? I mean, maybe not of Jolly, but I think at that point you have to SD and see what you can make happen, given how weak Ladybug was to the point where he couldn't switch into CC earlier on. So yeah, +2. Okay, I guess it doesn't KO Palkia, but like not revealing his own Palkia, I think was the better move. All right, so on to game 2. So. That was an interesting start. It was a good idea, but kind of marred by some stuff. But, I mean, hey, That's how it goes. Sometimes it takes some time to get in the swing of things. There's a Tentacruel from Feint. There's a DOA, Psycho Boost, and no Sash, yeah, this is why I've gone back to Sash on Tentacruel a lot, because DOA runs Psycho Boost like religiously now. So, yeah, maybe even just Payapa Berry, or nah, Sash is good. It lets you live Groudon and Ho-Oh EQs, that's why I like it. So, yeah, Psycho Boost, pretty brutal. Here comes Giratina. Oh, Shadow Sneak. I don't know about that, because that lets us... Well, I don't blame that Shadow Sneak, actually. That was just a good move on Ladybug's part to preserve the Sash for later, rather than staying in and not doing much and like getting a spike or something. So that was a good move. Another physically defensive Groudon, taking a ton from a Draco Meteor. So he gets up the rocks at least, and he lets it go, and oh, I guess that sucks. That sucks a lot. And the Stone Edge, hey, he's respecting Ho-Oh. That really, really blows. Yeah, and now here comes, well, Ray was going to outspeed it anyway, at least. So, okay, that at least probably didn't matter too much. But, yeah, now here comes Dialga, and DOA is still going to have his Sash. Oh, but he's just going to Outrage and try to punish him for setting up rocks. Great move, great move. And that's an underrated move on Dialga as well. T-Wave somehow doesn't get used a lot. And that would cover a DOA switch nicely, you know, trying to get in before rocks break its Sash. And it covers Rayquaza switching in. So it's T-Wave on something like Groudon is really useful. We saw that in some other series as well. So on Dialga, you really get to cover some nice mid-grounds with it. So nice use of T-Wave there. And now I think he's got to get something going with T-Wave. He's got to break that Sash, and got to hope for something in return after that disastrous start. So, yeah, at least DOA's Sash is broken, but he's down half his team, and Kyogre's going to probably take this Ray out here unless he wants to switch to Palkia or something. But, yeah, I mean, he's still, Ladybug's still up 4-3, sorry, and has the advantage, because at this point, what's switching into this Dialga? And, yeah, he's got the momentum going. Ice Beam doesn't do a lot. Draco does a lot. So, and it's lefties, so we have an interesting non-rocks lefties Draco Dialga. Yeah, I'd love to see what else this thing has. I mean, it could just be like a regular offensive Dialga, like a mix set or something, but it just has lefties. I love that. I mean, that's part of what makes Dialga so flexible and so amazing. And it, you know, the surprise fact, like, you don't know what else is going to do either. Like, you see lefties and Draco, and you're like, oh, is it going to be just a standard offensive set? So we don't know if this Kyogre is Scarf or not, but I mean, it's likely. And he chunks, and he gets something back. And, oh, it's Draco T-Wave in the mid-game. Nice. So he's got some double T-Wave support going on here. So that's nice. That helps out. Like, if you have a one-on-one against an opposing Dialga, then that can be really big for something like your own Kyogre later on. Or not having to get into dumb base 90 ties, like if you got Giratina O and you're like, oh, well, the opposing Dialga's paralyzed, so I don't have to worry about outspeeding it, because I know I'm going to. So, Draco finishes it off. T-Wave there for the T-Wave there was nice, not just because it covers a potential switch on the -2 Dialga, but, I mean, it doesn't do anything to Groudon, but neither would the -2 Draco Meteor. But also because it gives an extra turn of leftovers. Before, if Kyogre's just going to stay in and get KO'd anyway, then you just T-Wave the Kyogre and you get an extra turn of leftovers as you KO it. So, nicely done. Crit helps out bringing him back, but we'll see what this follow-up is. It's Kingdra. Okay, so that crit is helpful. And with Groudon down, that is really big. So if there is something that can bring this thing back, it's Kingdra. And that makes the Stealth Rock even bigger, breaking the Deoxys attack Sash so Kingdra can outspeed and KO it. I mean, it'll take an E-Speed, but it can take that. As opposed to DOA becoming an impromptu check is game-changing. So, I mean, he could have like Draco Meteored and brought the... Oh, it's Life Orb. Okay, it's not the Specs. Another old-school choice. We've seen some old-school choices in these series, in this series in particular, on both sides. So, yeah, he could have Draco'd and taken the Dialga out after the second Ice Beam, but that could have hindered it against other pokes. And he only has one other poke to switch to, and it's probably offensively minded, so Who knows? There's Tina O, and it sneaks, and it's going to die to Draco, but now with Life Orb, then it's going to be put in DOA at E-Speed range. So, oh, the last Kabutops, double swim, and it has the E-Speed resist. Nicely done. Nicely constructed, too. You wouldn't expect it, because, and with the last being Garchomp, then this game's over. But you wouldn't expect it with the Tentacruel lead, because these guys more are paired with Spikes for instant KOs and wearing away at Dialga, you know, enemy number 1. But that certainly threw me for a surprise, and I think it worked to Feint's benefit in this. And obviously T-Spikes are good, you know, punish Groudon the longer it stays. I mean, Groudon can shrug off Spikes damage with lefties and, you know, staying in long enough and protect or something, but T-Spikes, not at all. So, and it's an interesting path to take. And yeah, with Garchomp, it doesn't matter if it switches in now or doesn't, because there's the banned Waterfall, and that was a great move to switch on the E-Speed just to make sure that he could have both Swift Swimmers for the potential last. But yeah, so what a turnaround with the winning the Weather War and then having the double Swift Swim attack to bring back a really rough early game. So really nicely done from Feint. And we head into Game 3. You thought this was going to be another 2-game set, and I was going to have to pad it up with movie recommendations? Yeah, I'm not recommending anything in this one. We're going to Game 3. So, we have Groudon, Fori. The burning question, will this Groudon burn up the fortress with a fire move? It's, well, with the distinctively old-school approach that has permeated both sides in this series so far, I'm willing to bet that Feint's probably going to switch in and that Ladybug is probably not going to have a fire move. So, Feint's not risking it, and he has a fire move, so I was super wrong. Well, I'm happy to be wrong, you know, because we get to see a Cresselia. Cresselia Sunstall is awesome. I hope there's a Ho-Oh, and it's probably going to Toxic Groudon as it gets up rocks for some long-term. Yeah, now you Toxic the Rocker, and then every time Groudon wants to come back in and get rocks back up against Fori using Spin, then it's going to be Poison, so it's on a timer. Can't do it forever. So, now what's the move? What's switching in? There's Giratina. Are we seeing some double? Oh, we see another Toxic. Nice. Yeah, I guess, you know, if a Steel comes and you're not doing any damage to it with something else, and you don't want to risk a double switch. Like, what if he just popped a random Fire Punch and caught a Fortress double? So... Now Toxic ensures that Sub-Protect stuff isn't going to do anything. And Heatran, yeah, nice. Will-O-Wisp, you know, who cares about the Flash Fire thing. But now Heatran comes in. Cresselia, Heatran, if there's a Ho, I'll be so happy. I love this kind of sun. And, yeah, so he gets another Toxic. He's going to leave the rocks to the Groudon. So 3 Toxic Pokemon on Ladybug's team. And we're also seeing a stall bend on his side, because of the regular Giratina, as opposed to the... Well, I mean, League Groudon has always suggested stall traditionally, but the Giratina really hammers it in there. Could be some old-school Jabaku-style stuff. So, actually, no, he always preferred Tina O, so disregard that. But there's the Protect, there's the Toxic Stalling. It's a lefty's Kyogre, so very possibly Rest, but hey, it doesn't have to be an automatic... You know, forcing it to Rest, I mean, that's great as well. That's... more opportunity. So here comes Latias. Here comes Fortress. I mean, it's not going to love a Soul Dew Thunder, but being able to get up some spikes and further pressure Feint's team is going to be... Oh! He wanted to really remove that Latias desperately at that. And DOA, wow! Well, you can never predict what Ladybug's going to do. Both in battle and in the team builder. So... that chunk on Fori, that's actually really helpful. I mean, I don't know if it was more helpful than, you know, spiking and going to Giratina and then having more long-term pressure before you send in DOA. I guess he was, like, afraid. Yeah, I think, like, he was afraid of the Latias itself because he needed to, like, if he could trade Fortress for Latias, he would have taken that. But chunking Fori like that, I mean, that's helpful, too. And seeing Giratina, you will almost never see regular Giratina, the purest example of stall in the tier, alongside Deoxys attack, but Ladybug did it, so I assume there's a Thunder to be on... Yeah. Oh, and it lives. Oh, that's disappointing, because it's not Life Orb. What could it be? Could it be, like, Sash or Expert? I guess Expert Belt, maybe. And now Feint goes to his own Giratina. We've been seeing a surprising amount of Giratinas in this tournament. So now he's going to get up rocks easily, at least. But, well, okay, yeah, that's not as big a blow. If it's, yeah, I'm going to assume it's Expert Belt. That's not as big a blow because he can get his rocks back up. But yeah, now here comes Latias. That's the bigger problem. At least he's got his what's it called? There's the Grass Knot. There's some bulk. Oh, there's Ice Beam. That doesn't do very much, so. Well, I don't know what this Kyogre set is. Oh, there's a nice Wish. Oh, Wish Protect. Nice. On one hand, I usually prefer Wish Recover for the flexibility, but Wish Protect is nice because having Protect lets you scout choice moves, like this Scarf Chomp. So this is cool. This is a Stall Core on Ladybugs, and with DOA and a Scarf Chomp to clean. Cresselia, when there's obviously a Groudon in the back. The Groudon's definitely coming in here. He wants to get up his rocks. He wants to put some pressure back on. So, interesting. I've never seen this Latias set. I really like that. That's really cool. So yeah, Latias is a big threat. I don't know what Kyogre, like Surf, Ice Beam, Calm Mind, Rest or something, but it's very bulky. That Ice Beam did nothing. I mean, even for Soldew standards, that's crazy. So yeah, here comes the Groudon, gonna get chunked a little bit, and Faint's looking like he's in the driver's seat for this one. I mean, because Heatran is also such a pain with Kyogre. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I can't see Faint losing this one. There's the Whispers, the Flash Fire. That's not gonna make any difference. So here's the rest. I mean, I guess he could like try to PP stall everything, but yeah, I mean, I guess this doesn't have Roar, but it probably does because most Heatrans do. Yeah. So you're dragging the Kyogre, and I mean, if it rests it here, then that's one thing. But it also lets in Latias completely for free. So he makes a nice attempt to catch the Latias for some chip damage there, but I think this is a case of too little, too late. I think if he went for the more extended burn approach with Fori, then that might have worked. Hey, he gets a nice Outrage crit, and then Ice Beam freezes. But even then, I don't think he was critting his way through this team. So here comes DOA and Thunder Para. Ooh, well, Moonlight wasn't going to be out healing it, but Toxic would have been pretty devastating. But Ice Beam's not going to beat this. Apparently, Spadef Latias, and I think Latias is just going to clean this up. So yeah, all right. So that's going to be this series. So thank you guys for watching, and really cool stuff on both sides. I really like that Latias in particular. Good to see some Sunstall. No Ho-Oh, but I mean the rest is cool, so I can dig it. All right, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.